Not all mutants in Marvel are created equal, and 50% of mutants fall in a category most of you don't even know exists. Here are 10 secret clues that the 6 mutant levels are bigger than we know. But before we begin, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in videos where we uncover the secrets of animated movies. Secret number 1. The classification system change in 2019. Here's what most casual fans missed. The mutant power classification system as we know it today was only formalized in 2019. Before that, it was inconsistent, contradictory, and a mess because various writers had written them over decades. In Jonathan Hickman's House of X, Marvel finally established the clear definitions of different mutants. Firstly, we have the Epsilon. The Epsilon is known for having the weakest powers, while often being physically disfigured. Then we have Delta, which is known for its low-level useful abilities, and they are good in overall combat. The beta mutants are powerful, but have different drawbacks that don't allow them to fight the enemies or fight some of the most powerful Marvel heroes efficiently. Then we have the Alpha with some of the strongest powers while having full control over their hybrid nature. Lastly, we have Omega, with abilities that have no measurable upper limit at hand and can go as strong as they want. These are almost invincible mutants. Before all this, the terms were used loosely. Sometimes Alpha meant the most powerful, while other times Omega did. Characters would be classified differently depending on who was writing them. However, formalization changed everything. Magneto, who was previously considered Alpha, was now reclassified as Omega. This criterion became specific, which means that an Omega-level mutant cannot be surpassed in their main power. In other words, no one can surpass Magneto in magnetism, Storm in weather manipulation, and Jean Grey in telepathy. This means that whenever you watch the X-Men movies or read older comics, the classifications don't necessarily match the current canon, and they are almost all over the place. Characters you thought were one level might officially be another in the modern age. I'm doing a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway to celebrate when this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. No action is required to enter. I'll randomly pick a winner once we hit the milestone. If you want to follow the journey or see the winner announcement, feel free to subscribe. Secret number 2. One mutant can have multiple classifications. But here is where it gets really complex. A mutant doesn't necessarily need to have one classification. Each one has a power, and each of their powers has its own classification. Let's take the example of Jean Grey, who is Omega level in telepathy, but her telekinesis is on a much lower level. So she's technically an Omega mutant because of her dominant power that reaches the Omega level. However, all her other abilities do not qualify. Then let's think about Rogue. Her absorption power has Omega control. In other words, she could theoretically absorb and permanently keep any power, making her abilities limitless. However, the lack of control in movies and early comics classified her as Beta. After Messiah Complex, when she gained full control over her powers, she was reclassified as an Alpha. This creates interesting scenarios because a mutant could be Omega in one ability, while Delta in healing. There could even be an Epsilon in something like cosmetic mutation. Their overall classification would be Omega because their dominant power, their strongest and primary ability, reaches that level. Secret number 3. Delta mutants are the most common, not alphas. Movies often focus on alphas and omegas because they are exciting. However, according to Martin Canning, Delta mutants make up at least 50% of the entire mutant population. In other words, they are the statistical norm and not the exception. Delta mutants have very few abilities, but they don't have anything that could change the world. For example, Domino's luck manipulation requires her to be actively moving and farting. She can't stand still and let her probability save her. Forge can reinvent incredible technology, but human engineers with resources could match his creation if they are given enough time. These mutants are blending into society easily every single day. They look human, and their powers don't demand much attention. What's interesting is that they represent the reality of mutation, that most mutants aren't even superheroes or world-ending threats as they seem. They are just people with slight advantages. The movies ignore this demographic almost entirely because they are not visually interesting. However, in comics, Delta mutants are everywhere, living normal lives, having normal day-to-day jobs, never joining X-Men because they don't even need to. Secret number 4. Epsilon mutants make up 20% of the population. Here's where it gets even crazier. While deltas are common but unnoticed, Epsilon mutants are common and suffer for it. About 20% of all mutants are in Epsilon classifications, which basically means that their powers are useless or actively harmful. They're often combined with physical mutations that make them look monstrous. One of the prime examples of an Epsilon mutant would be Beak, who is often known as the classic example. He has bird-like features, but no flight, no enhanced strength, nothing that is useful in combat. These mutants represent the tragic cost of mutation. They get all the discrimination but have no power to defend their own lack of abilities. Many of them join underground communities like the Morlocks, where appearance doesn't matter because everyone is rejected by this surface society. Secret number 5. Gamma doesn't mean gamma radiation. You might not be ready for this, but a lot of fans assume that gamma mutants are somehow connected to the gamma radiation, like the Hulk. However, they are not. Gamma classification means just one specific thing. These are powerful abilities that are combined with physical mutation that prevent them from blending into society. You can see Nightcrawler with the incredible teleportation, but blue fur, yellow eyes, tail, and demonic experience. Beast with genius-level intellect and superhuman strength. However, he's covered in blue fur with animalistic features. Mystic is another classic example, where he is the master shapeshifter who can impersonate anyone, but his natural form is blue skin with yellow eyes. Gamma mutants also face constant tensions, and their abilities are legitimately useful compared to many other mutants. Their powers even rival alphas, but they can never hide what they truly are. Even if Nightcrawler never teleported, his appearance would still mark him as a mutant. This is one of the tragedies of gamma classification. These mutants are judged before they even use their powers. And before we move forward to our next big secret, please subscribe to the channel, because the list gets crazier as we move towards the end. Secret number 6. Beta mutants have the most potential for growth. Next is what many people get wrong. Beta classification is temporary in ways that other levels aren't. A beta is defined by lacking full control or having significant drawbacks to their own powers. You see, rogues started off as beta because touching anyone could kill them. After years of training and the events of Messiah Complex, she gained control and finally moved on to alpha. Then we have Cyclops, who is beta specifically because of childhood trauma that prevents him from controlling his optic blast naturally. Without that injury, he'd be alpha easily. His glasses aren't a sign of weakness, but they're compensation for the damage that has already been done. Gambit looks human except for his red eyes, and he can charge objects with explosive kinetic energy. The eyes alone keep him at full alpha status, but his power itself is quite overpowering. Then we have Wolverine, who embodies being beta perfectly. His healing factor is incredible, but he cannot turn it off. It's always active, always working, and slowly poisoning him with adamantium over decades. His mutation protects him and tortures him at the same time. Beta mutants are powerful, but they are also flawed. These flaws create the best character arc because they create a storyline for them and a lot of content for us. Secret number 7. Omega is not equal to most powerful. Next up is an even more exciting one, because this is the biggest misconception on our list so far. Omega doesn't mean that a mutant is stronger than Alpha. It just means that their specific power has no measurable growth point in its specific category. Magneto is the prime example of that because he is Omega, but no one can surpass him in magnetism. Storm is Omega because no one can surpass her in weather manipulation. That doesn't mean they are automatically more powerful than every other mutant that is available out there. Professor X has Omega-level telepathy, but Wolverine could still stab him. Iceman is Omega because he can theoretically lower all temperatures to absolute zero and manipulate all matter on Earth, but he rarely uses that full potential. The key phrase from House of X is perfecting hair, which is the upper limit of powers that cannot be surpassed in any measurable fashion. So if we go by that, it's about potential, not necessarily current demonstrated ability. Forge is not Omega, even though he's incredibly intelligent, because human engineers could also match his invention, given enough resources and time. Magneto is Omega because no human technology or other mutant could ever surpass his mastery in magnetism. Secret number 8. Franklin Richards breaks the system completely. Franklin Richards, the son of Reed and Sue Richards, is classified as Omega, but he is not Omega level. He is not just Omega level reality manipulation. He can create entire universes, and he has already rewritten reality multiple times. He made even Galactus his herald, and he represents what happens when Omega classification is closed absolutely to an absolute extreme. Other Omegas have limitless potential in one area, while Franklin has limitless potential to rewrite the entire existence himself. Some Marvel experts argue that Franklin shouldn't be classified alongside other Omegas because he's not just powerful, but he's also functionally God. Dear, comparing storm weather manipulation to Franklin's universe creation feels like comparing a bullet to a nuclear weapon. The classification works 99% of the time, but then there's Franklin, who defies the laws of being a mutant entirely. Secret number 9. The movie uses a completely different classification system. In the other X-Men games, mutant classification is based on a 1.5 numerical scale. For example, Jean Grey is described as the only 5 mutants I have ever seen. The system has zero connection to the comics canon. The movie scale seems to be including raw destructive power, rather than control, precision, potential, or even specific ability mastery. It's simpler for casual audiences, but it loses all the complexity of the accurate comic system. Not only does this create confusion for actual fans when they try to discuss mutant power levels, but it also uses the wrong power scale, because now we are talking about movie programs, and it has another classification system that is based on perceived threat level with a combination of power, temperament, and experience. So you could have a powerful mutant classified as a low threat system because they are peaceful, or a weaker mutant classified as a high threat because they are violent. Many classification systems exist simultaneously in different contexts, but the right one is from the comics. Secret number 10. Graduation between classifications. And now to the secret that changes everything. Mutant classification isn't permanent. Betas can become alphas, and alphas can become omegas. Mutants can drop classification if they lose control too. Rogue's journey from beta to alpha proves that classifications measure current ability, not their inherent potential. She didn't gain any new powers, but she just gained mastery over her control. Even CB started as Delta due to only having slightly enhanced strength and agility. His mutation accelerated, giving him blue fire and making him Gamma. Magneto was also Alpha for decades in the Marvel Universe before being reclassified as Omega when writers realized the true scope of his abilities. This means that every mutant has the potential to move between classes depending on the control of their powers. And with that, our 10 secret clues about the 6 mutant levels have ended. What do you think about these secrets? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon for more videos like these.